Hello and welcome. I'm Angela DiCarlo, and I am here to welcome you to Product Mentor. Feel free to list where you're tuning in from. And I'd love to welcome Mike Corradini. He is the founder and CEO of Product Mentor, a USC graduate, go Trojans, and an amazing entrepreneur who has helped over 250 startups to grow or launch their products. All right, Mike, welcome aboard.
Angela, how are you? Happy Friday.
Amazing. Surviving this crazy universe and just keeping moving forward.
Yes, it is pretty crazy out there, but we have a very, very important topic today. You know, most entrepreneurs at some point, whether it's at the very beginning or along their journey, run into the challenge of money. I know that money is usually the biggest challenge for most people. And so again, I'm really excited to share some valuable information today because we see people overcome this challenge every single day. And what we're going to do today is help you overcome that challenge as well so that you can start that amazing idea, that amazing business that you want to start.
Absolutely. Money is so important. It takes money to make money, right? So where do we start with finding funding? What's your first place you look?
So the first place, and again, you always want to start at home, so to speak. And what I mean by that is if you can use your own resources before looking at external resources, it's always going to be simpler. And so that's how we're going to start. And then we're going to slowly move progressively outward from there. And so personal funds is the number one way that I see people start their business. I've done this myself, and I know you have as well. And a lot of times people don't have the resources. They don't have the money. So don't check out. You know, I do realize that this option may not be an option for you. But if it is an option, I want you to think about what entrepreneur actually means. And if you look up the definition, it's a French word. It actually means risk taker. And so what that means is if you're feeling like, oh my gosh, I worked so hard for this money, you know, how could I ever possibly put it at risk? You know, that is the name of the game. You have to have skin in the game in order to really get ahead. It always takes money to make money, like you said earlier, Angela. And if it didn't take money to make money, everyone would have a business, right? Why would you go to work if you could start a business for free? So the first thing is to overcome that mental roadblock, so to speak, and just realize it's going to take capital, accept it, and let's get creative today. Let's figure out the ways that we can help you do that if personal funds are not an option.
Okay, so yeah, personal funds are definitely the first place to start. But besides that, where else can we look for funds?
So the second way that we see people finance their business is through credit cards. And let's just point out the obvious here. All right, credit cards have a negative connotation. And the reason is because most people go to Best Buy or they go on Amazon and they buy stuff, right? And then they get their statement in the mail at the end of the month and they say, shoot, you know, now I'm going to have to pay interest on this. And so we call this consumer debt. And because credit cards are typically associated with consumer debt, people immediately tend to recoil when they think about using them to start their business. But the fact of the matter is, debt is a tool. And if you use your debt to actually make money or to position yourself to be able to make money, then you're going into debt for the only reason that I can really see feasible, right? If you're going out to buy a big screen TV, pay cash. But if you're actually going to go start a business, you know, you should really think about using somebody else's money in order to do that.
That's a great idea. I personally use credit cards, or I actually took a class and they call them, I think, equity cards or investment cards, because you have to think of using that credit card as an investment because you do pay interest, and sometimes it's a very high interest rate depending on where your credit score is. So,
and you know what? Before we go to the next one, that's a really good point, because there are credit cards out there that offer 0% interest for 12 months, 18 months. You know, get on a search engine, get on Google. There's plenty of credit cards out there that actually give you some amazing deals where you don't have to pay any interest for again, a very long time, enough time, in fact, to give yourself the breathing room in order to start bringing cash into your business. So, don't pay those 18, 20% cards. If you're going to use a credit card, find one of the ones. And I'll just mention one of my favorite is Citi Diamond. That's Citi with an I at the end, CITI Diamond. I can't tell you how many entrepreneurs I've helped that have got a Citi Diamond card, and they're one of the best in regards to having that 0% interest.
And some even give you rewards. I bought my phone with credit card points, so they can be a really useful tool. Now, besides credit cards, I have a home that has thankfully built up some equity over time. Is that a good place to look to fund my idea?
That sounds crazy, right? Tapping into your home equity. I know that it sounds crazy, but you have to think about it this way. All right, right now, interest rates in our country, as we record this, are under 3%. We've had low interest rates before, but I believe historically, since they started tracking this back in the 70s, this is actually the lowest we have ever had, as far as if you were to do a cash out refi or, all the other various types of loans that you can get against your house. And so the timing is now. There's never been cheaper money if you do have home equity. And again, to keep it simple and not involving other people, home equity might be a really good option for you. It's something that a lot of people do. It happens every single day. And again, in these current market conditions, you might as well take advantage of the cheap money and consider that as an option as well.
Well, under 3% is amazing. I mean, besides that 0% credit card offer, that's the lowest loan I've seen. That's pretty awesome. Now, since it isn't necessarily my home alone, I'm not sure if my partner will let me touch the house for equity. And I know I need mutual agreement before pursuing home equity. Is there a way to tap into other accounts that I've saved over my career, like maybe my 401k or an IRA or things like that?
Yeah, so retirement accounts are similar to home equity, and that most people think to themselves, oh my gosh, that's my nest egg. How could I ever touch my nest egg? But when you really think about it, there's no better return on investment than investing in yourself. And sure, the stock market has done pretty good, right? There's bonds, there's mutual funds, there's even things like precious metals and Bitcoin, right? There's all sorts of different things that you can invest your retirement into. But there's no better investment out there. There's nothing that will give you the return that a business will. And that's what you have to think about, and what you have to realize is, all that money that's just sitting there, earning maybe a decent return for you, it could actually be setting you up for the retirement of your dreams instead of just, a normal retirement. And there's nothing wrong with the normal retirement, but this is for people that want more out of life. This is for people that really want to reach their full potential, entrepreneurs. And so a tip I have, if this strategy applies to you, is something called a business directed retirement account, or a BDRA. And my wife actually did this for her business. And what this allows you to do is tap into your retirement money without paying fees and penalties and all of the normal things that you think about when you go into your retirement account. So there are creative ways to get into that nest egg where you're not, again, losing a large percentage and taking it out. So check out BDRAs or talk to us offline, and we can show you how to do that.
Yeah, that's great. I've never heard of the BDRA. That sounds interesting. Now, those are all great ways to use money that I've developed or saved over the years. What about getting support from others? Do you start with like a big online campaign, or is there somewhere else you start?
So friends and family, now we're going to start to go outside of the circle. Once you've explored all of the internal resources, right? Because everything we've covered up to this point are things that you can do without external help. If none of those are an option for you, right, there's still hope, right? There's still ways that you can get money for your business. And friends and family are very, very common. We have people every single day that approach coworkers, even neighbors. We've even had somebody go to their dentist. Somebody in your sphere of friends or influence that has money. And what I have found is that if you have a good idea, money will always go to that good idea, because most people are looking for a better return on their money. And that's what you have to realize, right? They want a good ROI, return on investment. And if you can provide that for a friend or a family member, then it can help you launch or grow your business. The thing you have to realize, though, is that when you approach these people, your friends and your family, that is, they may be thinking to themselves, have you ever started a business before? Do you know what you're doing? Are you going to lose my money? Right? These are the things going on in the back of their head, whether they admit it or not. And so one thing that we always suggest that they do is bring those people into the conversation, whether it's Product Mentor or whoever you're having help you with your startup. Because when you involve your essentially your partner or whoever you're going to work with, it's going to give them more confidence knowing that you're working with somebody that's won the game before. And so don't try to answer all their questions, because what's going to happen is they're going to quickly realize that you may not know the answers, and then they're going to lose confidence in their willingness to invest in you. So again, if you are trying to work with Product Mentor, if you've applied with us, bring us into the conversation early on. Let us help, because we see people do this again every single day, getting help from friends and family members. This is an amazing way to get money to start your business, but you have to be willing to pick up the phone, right? You have to be willing to do it. If you're shy or you're bashful, then the money's not going to just come to you. You have to go out there and you have to be willing to ask for it. And if you have that passion that true entrepreneurs have, this shouldn't be a challenge for you, right? If you can't sleep at night because you're so excited about your idea and the value that it's going to bring to the world, then that enthusiasm should bubble over when you're telling people about your new idea. And so again, don't be shy, don't be bashful. Some of the wealthiest people out there had to go to their friends and family members to start their business and to get the funding. Again, this is so common, but you have to be willing to do it. And for whatever reason, Angela, a lot of people, they might lack the self-confidence in either themselves or in their idea to do it. And again, if you lack the confidence, then maybe entrepreneurship isn't for you. Entrepreneurship is for the bold, right? To have what other people don't have, you have to be willing to do what other people aren't willing to do.
So true. And that even applies once you have your product. You have to be confident to talk about it and share it with the market with all its flaws and all its potential and everything. If you can't tell your friends and family about it, how are you going to tell it to strangers? So definitely a good place to start. Now I personally, after learning from my youth how to maintain my credit score and how to have a good credit score, I have maintained a good credit score in my adulthood. Is there other options from the banks that we haven't talked about yet?
Yeah, so we also see people go to the traditional brick and mortar banks, right? The Chases, the B of A's, those institutional banks, if you will. And here's my tip for you here. If you have decent credit to good credit and you want to try this method, when you go in and you apply, you don't want to apply for a business loan. You want to make sure you're applying for a personal loan. And here's why. When you apply for a business loan, they're going to ask you for things like a profit and loss statement, a balance sheet, right? They're going to want to see that you're already established. And for most people just starting out, they're not going to have any of those things. And they're immediately going to walk out of the bank with their tail between their legs. And so to avoid that, make sure from the get-go you're requesting a personal loan, not a business loan. That's what we see working, not only in today's market, but as long as I've been an entrepreneur, well over 20 years now, it's the personal loan. If you have an established business, sure, you can get a business loan, but most people that we help, are just getting started. And so the personal loan is going to apply to them.
Gotcha. Understood. So the bank loan, go with a personal loan, not a business loan for the beginning.
Exactly.
Perfect. Okay. Now, you know me, like most entrepreneurs and inventors, I love watching Shark Tank. So besides getting selected from the thousands of submissions, how do you recommend people find sharks to help them start their business?
Yeah. So the other way to think about a shark is an angel investor. Angel investors are in every city in this country of America, Canada, wherever you're at. There are angels everywhere. And just like we spoke about friends and family, angels are also looking to put their money into play, right? They don't want to leave it in a bank account making less than 1%, right? They want to do something that's going to give them a 20x, 30x return. And so here's the difference between friends and family versus if you're going to go to an angel. All right. An angel is going to want to see a pitch deck. Now, a pitch deck is essentially a PowerPoint presentation or a series of slides to demonstrate that you have a well thought out plan. A tip I have in order to get a head start on this instead of starting from scratch is to, again, go to Google, go to a search engine, and look for pitch decks that actually got funding. Believe it or not, you can actually find the pitch deck for Airbnb, for Facebook, speaking of Facebook, for all these different companies. They're actually available online for your consumption. And again, we spoke about this before, but success leaves clues. So rather than you try to reinvent the wheel or the pitch deck, look at what they did, see their pitch decks that raised money from angels, and then obviously transition it and tailor it for your business, for your niche. And that's going to give you a huge head start in creating something that can allow an angel investor to write you that check that you need to get started. Now, be prepared to give up equity. Friends and family, right? They might be a little more flexible on that and the repayment terms, but an angel is always going to want equity in your business, and that's good. You want them to have a vested interest because they know other people that can help support your business, their network. And so equity, giving some out isn't a bad thing. It's much better to have a piece of something big than 100% of something small or nothing at all.
So true. So let's get some sharks in our tank if that's the right fit for us. Now I know we want to wrap it up. So is there anything else you want to talk about, ways to find money to fund a business?
Yeah, I just want everybody to shed their limiting beliefs. I think that this whole idea of finding money, we tend to make it more difficult in our mind than it really is. And what I find, Angela, is that this is your belief system. We talk a lot about your belief system, but this is an important one. If you believe that somebody out there right now is willing to give you the money you need to start your business, your chances of finding that person or using one of the other resources internally that we went over, your chances of making that happen skyrocket. They're exponentially better. But if you think and you believe and you feel in your heart of hearts that you could never find the money, you could never convince one of your friends or family members, You could never get a credit card with 0% interest. You could never convince your spouse to go into your retirement account, right? If this is what you're thinking, that little voice in your head right now, then you've already defeated yourself. And so your belief system is everything. You have to believe that the money is out there for you. Damon John, one of the sharks, back to the Shark Tank, is a classic example of this. I don't know how many banks turned him down. I don't know the exact number, but he got the door slammed in his face. I believe it was well over 30, 40, 50 times. Whatever the number was, the point is he got rejected so many times when he was launching FUBU. And did he give up? Did he quit? No. He kept going, and he finally found that money. So again, if you're willing to be persistent, if you're willing to knock on enough doors and call enough people and talk to enough people, you will find the money. So believe it, and you're that much closer to making it happen.
So true. Yeah, I have the book, The Power of Being Broke by Damon, and it's really great. He talks about the struggle and the persistence and the continued. You just keep going, and you get mentors to help you through the process so you don't have to work so hard at it. Get the structure that works, use the templates that work, use the brand that works. So Mike, thank you so much again. Another amazing day. I hope you have a fantastic week, and it only gets better, right?
That's right. And I do have a quote to kind of leave everybody with. And this is a quote that I just simply love, and it has to do with shaping your belief system. And the quote is, lack of money is never a lack of resources. It's simply a lack of being resourceful. So go out there and be resourceful. And if you need help, come to Product Mentor. That's what we're here to do, is to help you find that funding you need. And don't let money be that reason that you don't live the life of your dreams. Go make it happen. We're here to help. Bye for now.
Bye.